Well, hi there, folks. Welcome to the program. This, of course, is Stinchfield, the podcast. It is so great to be along with you today. I'll tell you what, we got big issues with the mainstream media, with the Dallas Police Department. Everything leftists do is with the sole goal of manipulating the minds of Americans. So we had this horrific shooting in Dallas, a sniper on the roof shooting down at ICE agents and detainees. It looks like, by what the police said about that, there was anti-ICE markings on the shell casings and bullets, that they would have been firing at ICE agents. No matter what the motive actually was, this, folks, is hold on one second. This is what came out in the mainstream media. White sniper shoots at least 3 migrants at Dallas ICE facility and kills one before shooting himself, police say. White sniper? You're going to tell me that you never identify race. Whenever it's a minority, you go out of your way to make sure you do not tell us the color of the person involved, whether it's a mugging, a killing, you name it. But when it's a white sniper on the roof that happened to kill migrants, you're literally putting white sniper. So, you know what? So you can blame MAGA extremists for this. So the police are the ones that were responsible for this. The police come out and say it was a white sniper. When I was told the police wanted to always give you many identifying factors before just identifying race, they come out and say white sniper. What happens? The mainstream media runs with this. Everybody gets in their head that it was somehow a white sniper, when in the end, it turns out these are the bullets that we're seeing. And I will show you those here. These are the bullets. Now, it says anti-ICE on it. That, to me alone, is a tad suspect, anti-ICE. But we shall see how this plays out. So let's talk about bias in the media today. Let's talk about the use of white sniper and just how devious and deceitful that actually is. Before we do that, I want to tell you about my friends over at Energized Health. EnergizedHealth.com is where I'd like you to go. This is about getting your life back together. I've now lost 10 pounds in about 3 weeks, okay? So I've lost 10 pounds. I'm feeling as great as I ever have felt, and it is due all to the Energized Health system. So you may remember about a year ago, I lost 15 pounds. Then I gained maybe 5 back. Great shape. I always felt like I'm in good shape. I said, you know what? I need to tighten it up. I lost another 10 pounds. I just went right back on the Energized Health protocol, get hydrated at a cellular level. I lose body fat. I lose visceral fat. I gain muscle mass. My testosterone goes in the right direction. My blood pressure goes down. This is what Energized Health can bring to you. So I want you to go watch a master class at their website, EnergizedHealth.com. That's EnergizedHealth.com. Go watch the master class there, and I promise you, you will not regret it. Let's get the show started, folks.
Uncensored and unapologetic. This is Stinchfield. Here's your host, Grant Stinchfield.
All right, so I believe we have a real problem today where you have liberal police departments that work in conjunction with a liberal media. So they will come out and offer up headlines. Boy, oh boy, I'm having real problems today. They will come out and offer up headlines like this. White sniper shoots at least 3 migrants at Dallas ICE facility. White sniper? Again, police typically don't like to identify suspects by race unless there's a number of other identifying factors. Red hoodie, blue jeans, blue eyes, driving a blue Ford, all these things. Instead, the Dallas police come right out and say, white sniper, and he killed migrant detainees. They're literally pushing all of you to believe that somehow this is a MAGA extremist. Now, I don't know if it is or it isn't. It seems to me that it's not a MAGA extremist if you believe that the writings on the shell casings, which we now have seen, these are the writings on the shell casings, and in this case, bullets, anti-ice. In what? Bic pen written on there? Anti-ice? I don't know. To me, that seems a little staged. I'm sure the left is going to come out and say, oh, Kash Patel's FBI wrote that on the bullets. There's no way Kash Patel's FBI is doing that, okay? First off, we got everything we can do to muster to get the FBI agents that would be writing the opposite of that on there. So it would look like it was Make America Great Again extremists that were responsible for this. So I don't know who's responsible. I'm not going to jump to conclusions this early in the day, okay? And if you're watching this live, we're doing this at 12:30 roughly Eastern time in the afternoon. We don't know. I need the investigation to come out. The mainstream media won't do that. Instead, they'll just push you to believe that somehow this was a right-wing extremist. I do not believe that it was. Now, this is the reporter. Now, right off the bat, I want you to listen to CNN.
Those ICE agents not shot or hurt. We do not know, however, the motive of the shooter. That still remains an open question and will be under investigation, and we'll be continuing to ask our sources more about that. But what the Department of Homeland Security has pointed out is that this same facility back in late August also had to contend with a bomb threat at that facility. So certainly ICE has been contending with additional assaults, attacks, and threats to their facilities.
I want you to think about what she first said. We do not know the motive. She wants you to make it clear that we don't know the motive here, okay? When it certainly appears in the beginning that they're firing on an ICE facility, it's pretty clear what a motive would be then, unless they were actually shooting for the migrants. Then that would put the focus in on, yes, anti-immigration folks, certainly extremists if they're using violence. Nobody I know on my side of the aisle pushes for violence. I only know people on the other side that push for violence and push for violence in a big way. So they go right out of their way, CNN, to try to tell you, oh, we don't know what the motive is, blah, 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 blah. When literally the Daily Mail is offering up giant headlines talking about the white sniper shooting at an ICE facility. Again, it is literally so disingenuous. And just last night on Stephen Colbert, you want to know why the left engages in violence? Because we have people like Gavin Newsom who all but encourages the violence against ICE agents.
That's happening in the United States of America. Masked men jumping out of unmarked cars, people disappearing, no due process. No oversight, zero accountability happening in the United States of America today. People ask, well, is authoritarianism, you're being hyperbolic? Bull, we're being hyperbolic. If you're a black and brown community, it's here in this country. And so I'm deeply proud that I had the privilege of signing the nation's first bill.
Oh, shut up. I'll tell you about his bill here in a moment. People jumping out of cars that are not showing ID and are not marked? Well, who? I don't know any of these people. Every arrest I see, they're wearing big ICE jackets or ICE tactical gear. Yes, some of them are wearing masks. I've been open and honest. I don't like the masks. I understand that some families are being doxxed and agents are being doxxed. They want to wear a mask. They have a right to wear a mask. I'm not a fan of it. I'm really not. And so it is what it is. But here's what I will tell you. I don't have any ability to write a law that says federal agents can't wear masks, which is what they did in California. As Gavin Newsom's so angry on a late night show, it's supposed to be a comedy program, so angry, ginning the crowd up to go after ICE folks. And then the next morning, we get someone shooting at ICE agents and detainees in an ICE facility. Gavin Newsom, roll it back, man.
To address the issue of masking, also to require you have simple identification, to your point. I mean, if some guy jumped out of an unmarked car in a van with a mask on, tried to grab me, I mean, by definition, you're going to push back. And so these are not just authoritarian tendencies. These are authoritarian actions by an authoritarian government. You saw what Stephen Miller said last week. This should put chills up fine. Called the Democratic Party an extremist organization.
Well, what else do you call it? They killed Charlie Kirk. Twice they tried to kill President Trump. They shot Steve Scalise and tried to shoot other Republicans at that congressional baseball game. You've got the trans shooters that are all leftists that are going into schools, killing people. What else do you call it, Gavin Newsom?
Basically a terrorist organization, saying he's going after his enemies. You saw the tweet that Donald Trump sent out, Truth Social, basically telling Pam Bondi, I want these 3 people taken out. That's happening in the United States.
Yes, because they committed crimes. Crimes against the American people. They tried to, unlike what you say about January 6th, they tried to run a legitimate coup, okay? A legitimate overthrow of the United States government and the will of the people. Absolutely, they ought to be prosecuted. I just saw now John Bolton, former intel guy for President Trump. He was a disgrace. He was working behind the scenes. Now he takes classified information. We believe he might be one of the leakers of classified information. FBI said during their raid they found classified information. You would have thought, but this is how dumb these people are. And I actually thought John Bolton was a smart guy. I didn't agree with him on a lot of things, but I didn't think he was dumb. He wouldn't have gotten rid of the classified information before the FBI comes in and raids his house with everything going on with Biden and Trump and classified information. I mean, come on. So you wonder where we get this idea that the left is encouraging violence.
A tyrant. We used to compare the strength of our democracy to communist dictators. That's what we're dealing with right now, Donald Trump. And these titans of industry are not speaking up.
She just called Donald Trump a tyrant, a dictator. She'll relate him back to Nazis and a racist, all but winking and nodding. Said, go take the man out. Go take these ICE agents out. They're jumping out of cars, snatching people up, and people are disappearing. Nobody's disappeared. Everybody knows where these people are. They go to a holding facility. Their families can get in touch with them. Nobody has just gone poof. We're not burying people in ditches like they do in Mexico. So again, the left is the problem here. Now we've got this issue with Antifa. President Trump declares Antifa a terror organization. Well, it is, because it terrorizes American citizens for a political gain. Do you believe now you've got those on the left that are defending Antifa? Those on the left pretending the Antifa is not a thing. I'm going to give you a warning right now, folks. This is going to be the mantra of the left. Antifa's not real. It's a Republican boogeyman. Doesn't exist. When we know it does, and I'll give you proof that it does coming up next. But before we get to that, I want to tell you about my friends over at get20now.com. Every month, I get direct deposited into my bank account a sizable check because I've made a sizable investment with the company NFN8. They're dealing in Bitcoin mining. And the way this investment opportunity works is it allows you to take part in the mining of Bitcoin, but you lock into an interest rate on your investment, annualized up to 20% interest. And here's the key, paid monthly. So they have perfected this art. They buy the electricity very cheap. They've built these fabulous data centers. They cool the machines, I think, like with water, which is really cool, which allow them to mine even quicker. And because they can mine cheaper, quicker, faster, more efficiently, they can pay you up to 20% on your investment. You are locking in. So now I feel like I'm taking part in the Bitcoin craze without the wild swings and risk. I love the guys at NFN8. Go to the website, get20now.com. That's get20now.com. Fill out the form. They will call you back. See if you qualify for this investment. It's been very, very popular. And make sure you talk to them. My man Corey will call you directly. He's a principal in the company. You will be talking to the players. And I've been involved in this now for a year, and they've lived up to all of their promises to me. And I look forward to that check every month, direct deposit into my account. Get20now.com. That's get20now.com. StrangeFieldShow.com. All right. Is Antifa real? Of course it is. When Antifa starts to riot, what do we see? We see Antifa have brick pallets ready for action. We see tactical gear being handed out, riot shields being handed out, not to mention the food and water that's ready there for everyone so they can prolong these riots and nobody gets thirsty or hungry. It's like a giant violent picnic for them. Who's behind that? I have said the imperative part now is to follow the money. President Trump agrees with the same thing. Follow the money. Will it lead back to George Soros? Will it lead back to other billionaires? Will it lead back to China? Will it lead back to North Korea or Russia? It could. All of these players would have an interest in destabilizing America and creating chaos here. So let's figure it out. So one of the ways we get to the bottom of doing that is by creating or calling Antifa a terrorist organization, giving it that official designation so President Trump can start to go after them and his team. How do you think the left-wing media responds to this?
Going to be this executive order where they're going to try to create a new classification for anybody on the left who opposes Trump as somehow a member of Antifa and a terrorist.
Yes.
Like,
it's not a new classification. And by the way, I can give you and point you to old stories Chuck Todd himself has done on Antifa.
This is coming. And I don't think we are fully now. I don't think there's any the problem. Like, I don't even know what Antifa is. I know what the definition of Antifa is, and I know
what the word means, but it's not
correct.
A group.
There is no group.
No,
and so
it is no group. What do you think it is then? Then what is it when you see flyers go up? When you have Reddit boards that go up calling for people to gather and create violence? Is it formulated as an LLC? I don't think Al-Qaeda has an LLC either. But this most certainly is an organized group, and federal agents across the country will tell you it's an organized group. So this is the latest mantra of the left. Antifa doesn't exist. It's just an ideology.
But what's dangerous is that by designating it, who's going to define who the group is? And if the Trump administration decides to say, you, George Soros, are a part of this group that I designated, and you're like, no, I'm not. And it doesn't matter. Like, they're going to then use that as some sort of potential opening. And I think that's what's so extraordinarily dangerous about these designations. Like what he did with, look, he's sort of testing the theory of this case with what he's doing with Venezuela and sort of designating this sort of, well, they're narco-terrorists.
Narco-terrorist
and
state.
somehow it allows. By the
Do you see what they're doing right now? Now they're going to defend narco-terrorists. So drug traffickers bringing fentanyl to the United States of America to actively kill American citizens, they're going to somehow defend these narco-terrorists. They shouldn't be dubbed terrorists. Now, we can make the argument, are they doing this for political gain? Are they doing it for financial gain? Maybe they're doing it for both. I actually believe it's a war being waged on America by China and our enemies, bringing the fentanyl here, which then does make it terrorism because it is for a political gain, and that's the destruction of America and the killing of American citizens. It is a war. When you talk about a drug war, it's a real drug war. Chuck Todd and this other asshole is going to somehow defend all this.
way, he's using the AUMF
of course,
as their legal cover on this, which of course is just
20
Does the other guy have anything to
years
say?
old.
so far removed from what the AUMF.
Does the other guy have anything to say? Just shake and nod your head. What a great podcast guest. So it's not just Chuck Todd and this guy. They go on too. Here's Kamala Harris. Rachel Maddow. Antifa? What's that? What would Antifa be? It's an ideology. Well, jihadism is an ideology. A holy war, a Muslim holy war on non-believers is an ideology. Doesn't mean that ISIS doesn't exist or Al-Qaeda or Boko Haram.
We've also now, in an executive order today, we've got the president describing Antifa, the anti-fascist, it's not even really a movement, the anti-fascist tactics of a...
It's not even a movement? Have you seen how many people they get on the streets of Seattle and Portland to start burning down a Wendy's?
portion of the protest movement as a domestic terrorist organization. What is your reaction to those things? What do you think the appropriate response is to?
Does anybody care what her response is? First off, the question alone is a setup job. So what Rachel Maddow just did is, hey, I'm telling you, if you don't already know, Kamala, since you've been out of the game for almost a year now, I'm telling you that the talking point of ours is that Antifa doesn't exist. It's a boogeyman. And we want to push this narrative that it's not an organized movement. So now you can speak.
Things like that.
Well, in normal times, we should and could expect that our courts would step in when asked to declare the legality or illegality.
Do you see why she's not president? Has she said anything? I've been running it for 10 seconds. The courts would step in to declare the legality or illegality of what? Of whether or not the president can declare Antifa a terror organization? Is that what you want? You want the courts to step in on that? Why? Who are you protecting now? Are you protecting? You're worried about the ICE agents with masks. I'm worried about the Antifa folks with masks that are literally throwing Molotov cocktails into convenience stores that mom and pops owns and will lose everything at the end of it because insurance isn't great because they can't afford it because of Democrat policies in blue cities and the problems go on and on and on. Is that what you want, Kamala Harris? For the courts to protect Antifa?
Of what the president is doing, because, Civics 101, we all know. We designed our democracy through three co-equal branches of government, the executive, the legislative, and the courts.
Look at Rachel Maddow. Oh, yeah. She's got to be thinking, you are such a ding-dong. You are so dumb. This is why you didn't become president. If I'm Rachel Maddow, I'm sitting there thinking, I am so mad at you. You blew it for us. We have Donald Trump president now. You blew it for us. This is Rachel Maddow talking to herself. It's got to be. Thank God she's dumb and a ding-dong, the both of them. So we have President Trump. Thank the Lord. I mean, Then you've got Ilhan Omar. This is why we have problems in America.
For me, I feel embarrassed for him because in these attacks, what he does, and I think with the likes of Nancy Mace, and whoever that Randy guy is, they expose themselves for how stupid they are. And that is embarrassing for us as a country because these are people who are elected to positions of leadership. He's supposed to be the president of the United States, who's heading off to Europe to represent us. When he does, he's uneducated enough to understand that members of Congress.
Wait a second. President Trump's uneducated? I believe he has a Wharton School of Business degree. He's been president of the United States. He's gotten us out of countless wars. He's got the economy back on track. The stock market's rocking and rolling. This is because President Trump doesn't know what he's doing. Ilhan Omar is a jihadi who occupies a congressional office. She is anti-American. She is a traitor to America. She took an oath to be an American citizen. She doesn't act like one.
And to be impeached, when you have Nancy and Randy saying, we're on it, we're going to impeach her, when they're saying they're going to deport me, knowing full well that you cannot deport an American citizen, what that displays for not just Americans, but folks on an international platform is that our country is being led by idiots.
No, you're the idiot. You're one of the so-called leaders in Congress that is an idiot, but you're even, it's worse than being an idiot. You've got Hank Johnson, who's just dumb. You've got Mazie Hirono, the senator from Hawaii, just plain dumb. Forget about their politics. They're not smart. Ilhan Omar may be smart. Ilhan Omar's dangerous before she's dumb because I believe she has it out for America. Not America's best interest. She's disgusted by America, and yet she came here to become an American citizen. Why? I believe so she could infiltrate us. So if all of that was proven, you could revoke her citizenship. She's not a born and bred American citizen. You could revoke that citizenship. There is grounds to do that. I doubt we would ever go down that road, but it most certainly could happen. So now they talk about we're not violent. I'm going to talk about how they talk about, how they're not violent. I'm going to talk about how they are. Proof was this assassination of Charlie Kirk. Now, you had Jimmy Kimmel last night come out and so-called apology. This was the worst apology ever. Oh, and I do want to cover Ryan Ruth, who was on trial. This is the second assassin of President Trump. 0 for 2. Couldn't kill President Trump. Couldn't even kill himself. He tried to in court yesterday. We're going to talk about that as well. So we got a lot to hit here on the program. But before we do that, listen. I'll tell you what, I am so happy to tell you about a new sponsor of mine, thecryptocode.com/Grant. This is a crypto trading system that literally takes the guesswork out of trading. It can be automated. You get trade alerts. There are the high setup probability indicators. All of it is going to be included in this system that is literally so simple to operate. So if you want steady profits, okay, if you want to build wealth, all with minimal risk, and this is the key, then the crypto code is for you. The cryptocode.com/Grant. That's the website I want you to go to. So my buddies over there are running free seminars all week. This will take you through the process. They open up the playbook for you, all right? Now, as for the trading alerts that the crypto code offers, I want you to take a look at this. This is their win rate on this. 93% of the 2,175 trade alerts they have offered up multiple times per week, okay? 2,024 wins, only 151 losses for a 93% win rate. I've gone through and I've checked the math on this, and I'll tell you what, it's nothing short of amazing. So if you want to get involved in crypto, but you don't want to risk the farm, the crypto code is for you, and you're not going to spend tens of thousands of dollars for these. You know, these trading bots can be very, very expensive. This is the most reasonable deal I've seen, and it may be the most successful trading bot and system and trade alerts all packaged in one that I have seen. The cryptocode.com/Grant. Go sign up for this seminar. You're not going to regret it. Trading involves risk. There's no doubt about it. Results aren't guaranteed. Terms apply. I'm not giving you financial advice. That's what the FTC wants me to tell you. What I want to tell you, though, is go to the cryptocode.com/Grant.
Jimmy Kimmel returned to late night television yesterday after just under a week long suspension. Not every station picked up Jimmy Kimmel's show, by the way. Only the ABC-owned affiliates actually took it. Both Nexstar and Sinclair-affiliated stations, they chose to black out Jimmy Kimmel. And I'm sure they're probably going to let us know soon, Grant, whether or not Jimmy Kimmel's so-called apology was good enough to serve their needs. I don't know if it was. He was definitely emotional, but I don't know if it constituted a real apology.
I'm going to tell you right now, it didn't constitute an apology. I think this guy's despicable. You've got half of the ABC affiliates still not carrying him. I don't know how he lasts any longer.
Contract's up in May of next year.
May of 2026. Mm-hmm. He's a mean guy. He's a mean-spirited guy, and that doesn't play well on TV, which is why, there's only, a few hundred people watching him every night.
Yeah.
Can you play a clip from him?
Let's
hear him and judge.
Yep, here we go.
I've been hearing a lot about what I need to say and do tonight, and the truth is, I don't think what I have to say is going to make much of a difference. If you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. I have no illusions about changing anyone's mind. But I do want to make something clear because it's important to me as a human, and that is, you understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't think there's anything funny about it. I posted a message on Instagram on the day he was killed, sending love to his family and asking for compassion, and I meant it, and I still do. Nor was it my intention to blame any specific group for the actions of what it was obviously a deeply disturbed individual. That was really the opposite of the point I was trying to make, but I understand that to some that felt either ill-timed or unclear, or maybe both. And for those who think I did point a finger, I get why you're upset. If the situation was reversed, there's a good chance I'd have felt the same way.
Jen, First off, the man is crying because he's upset about the heat that's coming down on him. It has nothing to do with Charlie Kirk. And the fact he didn't point a finger, he literally pointed the finger.
Yeah.
He said, this is coming from MAGA. One of MAGA's is the culprit.
It was a direct lie. And it was not a joke. He wasn't even trying to make a point or a joke. He was literally saying, and I'll paraphrase, but he was literally saying that MAGA is tripping all over itself to try to blame anybody but themselves. What does that sound like to you?
It's one of the most frustrating supposed apologies. I'm going to tell you right now, that is not an apology.
No.
That is, I'm sorry that I had to go through all of this and that my career is in jeopardy, and I'm going to start crying because I'm making $20 million a year and that could all go away.
And I had to sit at home and my ego got hurt.
While people were yelling and screaming at me.
Yeah. Now, if you want to know, so you don't have to listen to us paraphrase what Kimmel said, that was kind of the final straw. This is what he said last week.
He had some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving on Friday.
That's all you need.
There you go.
Everything
just so you can hear it in his own words.
Everything they can to point the finger at anyone other than their own. Mm-hmm. That is literally him accusing MAGA. How dare he come on last night? That's not an apology. That's not good enough. You think Nexstar and Sinclair are going to say, oh, yeah, great job?
I'd be really surprised if this shifts where they are at all. And I think you're right. The tears just seem so disingenuous. I would have loved, and I know we could say all the things we want. We're not going to get them, and we're going to hear more from Jimmy Kimmel. But just, I was wrong. It was the wrong tone. And I apologize for that. It's simple. It would be so simple and you could move on. But instead, now I think Jimmy Kimmel is going to use this because he's now a hero of the left, right? He's now going to turn himself into a champion of free speech, which, again, this was never a free speech issue. If it were a free speech issue, Jimmy Kimmel would have been in prison today. That's not where he is. It is a business decision. He was bad for business for ABC, and they took him off the air because of it. He's not a champion for freedom of speech.
He's back on TV because the entertainment industry held Disney hostage.
Right.
And so you got all these stars where you have a CNN entertainment reporter that comes out and says all these Hollywood superstars.
They were going to walk off.
We're like, you ready for this? They're like the Avengers.
That's right.
In how they saved Jimmy Kimmel. The Avengers?
Yeah. They all came together. 400 celebrities signed a letter to tell ABC and Disney that they wouldn't work for them. And so think about this. If you're Bob Iger, and he's not known for his backbone to begin with, Bob Iger made this decision to bring him back, and you've got all of your actors threatening to walk, then you are being held hostage. And so he lets Jimmy Kimmel back on the air, even though half of the affiliates aren't taking the show. And you know, I just got to get back to this, Grant, because I think it is so worth saying. Jimmy Kimmel is not a champion for free speech. Charlie Kirk was. Charlie Kirk literally had his life taken from him at the hands of some leftist maniac because he was actually engaging in free speech and extending his platform to people that didn't agree with him. When was the last time Jimmy Kimmel extended his platform to someone
Never.
that didn't agree with him?
If you watch Charlie Kirk videos, he listened to the people that took the microphone,
That's
and
right.
then he would respond. Now, I was on with a young man yesterday on a podcast who had me on, and I did say this. I said, look, in order to be a great host, you have to be a good listener, right? I can't tell you how often I get complaints about other hosts on, say, Fox News that don't listen to their guests and want to be the pontificator. Certainly, I could be guilty of that sometimes, but I really do try to listen to my guests. Mm-hmm. Keep my questions short. I invited them on for a reason. Kimmel doesn't invite conservatives on. Charlie Kirk would listen. And I did say this. I could not find a video where anyone changed Charlie Kirk's mind.
No.
So it's not that it's this open dialogue debate and they move Charlie and say he's very convicted about his positions. I don't see anybody moving him off of those positions, but he was willing to listen. And I did see him beat the others.
Yeah, and I think he also did it so people could hear that, right? People need to hear civil discourse to know how to think themselves. All right, here's a little more from Jimmy Kimmel.
I have many friends and family members on the other side who I love and remain close to, even though we don't agree on politics at all. I don't think the murderer who shot Charlie Kirk represents anyone. This was a sick person who believed violence was a solution, and it isn't. Ever. And also, selfishly, I am a person who gets a lot of threats. I get many.
Oh, stop with your threats. So now we're going to have to hear about his threats and how he's in danger. Give me a break, Jimmy. Stop making it about yourself. And here's the thing. It doesn't represent a group. This represented the left. I hate to break the news to you. This shooter represents the left. Now, he may not represent everybody's thoughts that this should happen, but he was a member of the left.
Yeah. And heard their dog whistles of hatred.
And now he's going to keep going. He's going to literally go down this road of,
There's
poor
more.
me.
Ugly and scary threats against my life, my wife, my kids, my coworkers because of what I choose to say. And I know those threats don't come from the kind of people on the right who I know and love. So that's what I wanted to say on that subject. But I don't want to make this about me because, and I know this is what people say when they make things about them, but I really don't. This show is not important. What is important is that we get to live in a country that allows us to have a show like this.
Yeah.
So here we go again.
Yeah.
You know what? You're a disgrace. You're a disgrace to late night television. You're a disgrace to the comics who paved the way before you that would have a dialogue, that would make fun of both sides. And I love a comic that makes fun of Republicans and Democrats.
Yeah, just be even-handed. And you know who I feel sorry for today? And she's been very vocal about this. Roseanne Barr. If you want to compare apples to apples here, Roseanne Barr had her show, which she was bringing back. She was bringing back Roseanne. You'll remember it was called The Connors. It was on TV for about 6 years on ABC. She's an ABC star. She had a bad night, said something pretty awful. But instead of getting the chance to apologize like Jimmy Kimmel did and get her show back, she actually lost the show that she created. They continued The Connors without Roseanne for years on ABC. And so she's coming out today saying that she got her whole life ruined and that there is a huge double standard. And I think that's something to be addressed as well.
It's true. Great example using her. They ought to replace him with her.
They absolutely should. In
she'd
fact,
be
that
a hell
was
of a lot funnier.
some of the fodder on social media was that she should be a replacement. Or how about this? How about you invite her on and have a difficult conversation on Jimmy Kimmel's show? I'd watch that.
I'd watch that in a heartbeat. Didn't Tim the Tool Man got canceled too?
He's still got a show on ABC, but, you know, everybody knows he's a conservative too.
I'm going to ask you a question, folks. Do you have an emergency medical kit from the wellness company with all of the antibiotics, antiparasitics, antivirals that you need? I have multiple kits. I've refilled some of these kits. Speed of delivery when it comes to getting medications into your body during a time of need is critical. Check this thing out. I mean, how cool is this? Amoxicillin in here. A Z-Pack is in here. Oh, by the way, ivermectin is in here, right? So you come down with COVID, you start popping that. They got a handy-dandy little guidebook as well that will help you through the use of all of this. This is the guidebook. It works great. Folks, you got to have one of these kits. You should have ammunition, water, food, but you need prescription medications as well. The Wellness Company can help you with that. TWC.health/grant. TWC.health/grant. Use the promo code GRANT for 10% off, and I promise you, you will not regret having this. The only thing you'll regret is not having it when you need it. TWC.health/grant. Get one today. Use that promo code GRANT. Let me just say that what Jimmy Kimmel did last night was out of line. Right. It was not an apology. And so now play the rest of this, because then he goes in, he tries to capitalize on what Ted Cruz is saying, and he continues to slam the Trump administration when he brought all of this heat on himself.
I know. This is the point. And again, it is not a freedom of speech issue for Jimmy Kimmel. It is a business decision by ABC. We can talk about the FCC's impact on this and Brandon Carr's comments that were made, but take a listen. This is Jimmy Kimmel from last night.
Like Ben Shapiro, Clay Travis, Candace Owens, Mitch McConnell, Rand Paul, even my old pal Ted Cruz, who, believe it or not, said something very beautiful on my behalf.
I hate what Jimmy Kimmel said. I am thrilled that he was fired.
Oh, wait, no, not that. The other part.
But let me tell you, if the government gets in the business of saying,
what you
we
can and
don't
can't
like
say
what you, the media, have said, we're going to ban you from the airwaves if you don't say what we like. That will end up bad for conservatives.
I don't think I've ever said this before, but Ted Cruz is right. He's absolutely right.
Pause it 1 second.
Including him. I mean, think about it.
Now, I agree with Ted Cruz. And I said what Brandon Carr, the chairman of the FCC, who I really like, said, we're going to consider fining them, looking at their license for an absolute lie told by Jimmy Kimmel.
Well, can I tell you why that's okay?
Yes, but let me just finish why I think it's not.
Yeah.
It's always in the decider. So today it's okay when Brandon Carr decides what Jimmy Kimmel said is a lie, and you can't have lies going against the FCC, but it's still a government official deciding what the lie is. Next week, it's going to be a different administration. And then the lie comes from us on the radio, and then we're getting fined. I don't want it. You know what? Free markets worked here. Sinclair and ABC pulled Jimmy Kimmel. Let free markets rule. We don't need government intervention on this. We don't need government threats on this. I don't want the government threatening any private businesses for speech.
Yeah, and
stay out of
actually,
it. Now your turn.
No, I agree with you 100% on the free market. But the reason that I think, and I know you understand because you're a TV guy, but I think there are a lot of people who don't understand how public airwaves work. And so the FCC has jurisdiction over those channels. The ones we went through yesterday, 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13 in Los Angeles would be public airwave broadcast stations. Not a lot of people understand that. Our radio station is also public airwaves. We have to do all kinds of dancing and jumping through hoops in an effort to keep our broadcast license. So what I 1,000% agree with is that it is ridiculous for there to be a person who gets to decide what's appropriate and what's not. But truly, Brandon Carr, in his jurisdiction at the FCC, saying if you're using the public airwaves to purposely mislead and purposefully mislead people, that could make you subject to a fine.
I don't like it.
And I'm not saying I like it either, but I am saying that that's the job of the FCC right now.
They're going to say that what we say here is used to purposely mislead
100%.
you about Gavin Newsom. Stay the hell out of it.
And
okay?
I would agree with that, but the way the system is set up right now, that's the way it is. And so maybe we need to change the system.
That's not necessarily the way it is. You've got to really prove you've got to prove a lot in order to pull somebody's license.
Right.
It's
and
not
I think this
easy.
guy was just talking freely without realizing all of that. Yes.
Look, it's chilling. And I don't even like the idea of the FCC. Now, why do we have an FCC? Because here's the difference. If the signal is broadcast over the air, you pick it up with an antenna.
Right.
Well, those airwaves are owned by the federal government. They license them to us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? If it's cable, they don't own that.
It's the reason that
wire.
cable shows can cuss. They can show sexual
Absolutely.
situations. And when you watch broadcast, you're not getting that.
We are in a different time now. Not many people use over the air. Of course, they do if you're listening for radio. But I think if you went and ran our numbers, we'd have just as many streaming subscribers as we do over the air.
3 on each, actually. So it's evenly matched right now.
It is, really?
Just kidding. No,
right,
3 on each. It was a joke.
3 on each. Oh, yeah.
It's just a little joke.
3 on each, yeah. So times have changed. Yes, there's a reason why you need to make sure that certain things are upheld. But when it gets down to opinion, late night comedy,
it's lot of pressure,
government official deciding what's funny and what's not funny, what's a lie, I don't want any business in that. Let me and my voice rally Stinchfield's army, the Morning Answer army, to rally to Disney to get him to pull some. That is far more powerful than Brandon Carr.
I would also say this. Just like I don't believe in marriage licenses, I don't think that the FCC needs to approve mergers of companies. I think that has to be something that's done in the private space because unless it involves international players. So the FCC, and this is where I think it's such a big disgrace and probably should be thrown out just all together. So we don't even have to have these arguments anymore. But the FCC used to have the responsibility to make sure that there wasn't foreign ownership in our broadcast industry, meaning that China can't come in here and take over public airwaves and start blowing out Chinese propaganda on us, for example. They're now changing the rules at the FCC to allow international ownership up to 25% in broadcast companies. To me, if you have an FCC, that should not happen. We have an FCC and we're still allowing international ownership now in our public airwaves. So to me, that's gone, right? I mean, we've already blown it out. But now you've got these companies like ABC, Nexstar, Sinclair, who all need the FCC to sign off on their big deals. And so that also gives the FCC a huge amount of power. They don't want to tick anybody off so that they can get their deals approved. We don't need the FCC doing that. We don't.
There's an added element with the FCC because of the public airwaves. But, you know, you've got the SEC, you've got other government agencies that approve large mergers of corporations when you're looking at monopoly type things, especially when you get into telecommunications and these kinds of things. What is the role there? You know me. I'd rather have government completely out of it.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
I don't know if there really needs to be a role. You know, if a company's going to take over a monopoly, then another company ought to be able to do it better.
And I think the protective part of the FCC was to keep foreign ownership out of the public airwaves, but they're not even doing that right now. 855-785-8255.
I'll tell you this.
Yes.
Nobody wants Chinese national news.
Well, you know who I don't need to compete with? Tokyo Rose in the morning. We don't need that.
No. Tokyo Rose in the morning.
We don't like that.
Let me tell you about my friends over at Patriot Mobile. Why are you with the big three cell phone companies? They're literally doing everything they can to ruin America with the woke policies, the DEI nonsense, funding places like Planned Parenthood. But if you get with Patriot Mobile, you get America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. And if you use my promo code GRANT at patriotmobile.com/grant, you'll get a free month service, which is a big savings. So just call Patriot Mobile at 972-PATRIOT, 972-PATRIOT, and do what I did. Make the switch. In fact, my phone has two networks, one phone. So I have two lines on this phone. No cell phone company can do this because you choose what network you want to be on, but you don't pay the woke cell phone companies. You go with Patriot Mobile, and you know that a portion of the proceeds they make from your cell phone service are going to fund an agenda that's conservative, that's moving us in the right direction, that supports conservative causes. This is what I love about Patriot Mobile. If you're still with the other cell phone companies, I'm going to ask you why, and I'd ask you respectfully make the switch today. PatriotMobile.com/grant. Use the promo code GRANT, as I said, for a free month service. 972-PATRIOT, 972-PATRIOT. Make sure you tell them that Grant Stinchfield sent you.
Yesterday was quite an interesting day in court in Florida. After about 2.5 seconds of deliberation, I believe, the jury in Ryan Routh's case came back. Now, Ryan Routh is the guy who tried to assassinate Trump on the golf course. He's also the guy who decided it would be a good idea not to have legal counsel and instead represent himself.
He also thought it was a good idea to try to kill himself with a pencil.
Right. So after the verdict comes out, again, after like 2.5 seconds of deliberation, I'm pretty sure they went back there and all right, guys, we're ready to go home. I mean, I don't even think they needed to have lunch or anything. It was just that fast. So they come out with the verdict. This guy, as he's hearing this in the courthouse, decides to take a pen and stab himself in the neck. So what I'm asking all of you to do, because we're a radio product, is go do yourself a favor, because, the court, what do they call the court stenographer? I don't know. The guy that draws the pictures, what's he called?
The guy the court artist.
The sketchroom artist. Okay,
artist.
courtroom artist.
Sketch artist.
Okay, whatever. He documented it in sketch.
Well, you're going to try to document the most exciting moment of the trial.
And believe me, there were exciting moments in that trial because he did represent himself. So there were a few. But anyway, they got him as he's trying to pound his neck with the pen. He failed at that. As you mentioned, kind of the world's worst assassin. Thank you very much. Radar's found it. Thank you. Very good for our Rumble chat. So he's not a great assassin. Didn't do a great job trying to kill himself. But, and thankfully so, he is now in shackles and in custody. Here's Todd Blanche, who is President Trump's attorney, who came out and commented on this.
It's a great day for everybody in America. It's a great day for President Trump and for the Department of Justice, the prosecutors on this case, and the law enforcement that worked every day since that horrible day last year to bring justice to the president and also to the American people. And you've been talking about it for the past half hour or so, but this was a tough case. We had good evidence, but this defendant was pro se. He did everything he could to make to make the prosecution difficult and to suggest anything other than what the evidence showed, which was this was a calculated, very carefully calculated attempt on the president's life. And I agree with what the person just said. There's a lot of good citizens out there, and in this case, it was not only law enforcement, but it was a really thoughtful citizen who wrote down a license plate and chased Mr. Ruth and helped law enforcement capture him. But I just want to say a big, huge thank you to the prosecution team and the Southern District of Florida U.S. Attorney's Office, because this was just a lot of work.
Okay, was it?
Well,
was it a lot of work? I mean, I don't know.
Pretty open shut.
I mean,
way to go. Great case. You really beat one of the crack defense attorneys.
I know.
Just,
it's not
just
like
the super. I mean, it's just like Johnny Cochran going up against
I was just going to say, it's not like you're up against Johnny Cochran.
There's a lot of work that went into this. We caught him red-handed.
It wasn't the O.J. legal defense.
With a rifle scope in a sniper's nest for 9 hours waiting for President Trump, chased down by a Secret Service agent. It really, we didn't know where this case was going.
Didn't he leave his DNA on the Vienna sausages, too, that were...
Did he?
What was the story about the Vienna sausages on the ground? They were like beef sticks. I don't know. My friend Courtney always talks about turkey gobble sticks as a kid. I never had those. I don't know if anybody has. But they're, those like meat wads that people eat. I think he left some of those.
Wad.
I think he left some of those.
The Morning Answer Studio update.
And we quote VPTV.com. They found some security footage that showed Ruth in the area along with Vienna sausage cans. Cans of Vienna sausage cans were found.
See, you knew it, Jen. I mean, this is why, this was a very difficult case for investigators. Prosecution had a very rough time. We were up against one of the greatest defense attorneys of all time.
Robert Kardashian
the guy
came
called
back.
2 witnesses. One that told everybody that he was generous.
No, he was jolly.
Jolly. Oh, yeah, sorry.
In fairness, the closing argument really moved a lot of people.
Did it? Can you recap some of it for us, Dan?
I didn't do it. What more do you want?
Okay, good. Like I said, 2.5 seconds. The deliberation, easy.
Well, he didn't actually pull the trigger, so he should have just claimed, "Look, I took a wrong turn. I thought I was
duck hunting.
I was duck hunting, and I don't know. I was sitting there in my blind, and next thing you know,
picnicking with my Vienna sausages.
Right?
Don't you?
And here come a bull elk.
I didn't have binoculars, so I was just using my scope. Sorry. Anyway, we shouldn't laugh at this.
Boy.
This is serious stuff, but like, my God, these people are just all. I mean, how many people are insane out there? They're running around amongst us, eating their Vienna sausages.
They're all insane.
So,
including the guy that tried to shoot three detainees at the
That's right.
Center. I mean, everybody's nuts these days. Are we the only sane people left?
Oh no, I'm half cracked too. I don't know about how you feel.
I'm not half cracked.
Anyway,
I'm going to tell you something.
Everybody is.
I'm sane.
The most dangerous are the people who think they're 100% sane. Those are the most dangerous ones.
Well, then I'm a dangerous man.
Okay, so somebody I guess I'm going to extend a little grace towards. He's got kids, this Ryan Ruth. He's got a daughter and a son. They were in the courthouse. Now, I can't imagine. I try to put myself in people's position. I can't imagine having to watch my dad trying to kill the president of the United States, trying to defend himself in a courtroom, then trying to jam a pen in his neck. Like, I think that's a hard position in life to be in. But she didn't handle it very gracefully. She apparently kind of went bananas in the courthouse and started cussing at everybody around, saying he's going to kill himself. And then she made the promise, I'm coming to get you, Dad. I'm going to get you out of here. Here she is, running away from reporters.
Okay.
It was there.
Right. Not only crying as she left, obviously she went into a full sprint to get away from the media and yelled out some profanities, John.
Yeah, well, clearly
I love that.
she's upset.
That's a great throw. I'm going to do that to you next time. And yelled out some profanities, Grant.
Well, you know, she's mad at the media. There's plenty of things to be mad at the media about.
Hold on. Dan says we need to play
Plenty
this
of
again.
things.
Can we play this again just to indulge him?
this is not what you need to be mad at the media about for following you after your father just tried to kill a president and was convicted guilty and then tried to kill himself in the
with
court.
the Bic. Right. Here we go.
Right.
Okay.
It was there.
Right. Not only crying as she left, obviously she went into a full sprint to get away from the media and yelled out some profanities, John.
Yeah, well, clearly she's upset.
Clearly she's upset.
This is what
I mean, these guys really, and that guy, John, what's his last name?
I like him too, John
Roberts. He's a nice guy. He's been around forever. I don't know. I think he's been since the beginning of Fox News. But there's nothing like stating the obvious.
Clearly.
Clearly, she's upset. Wouldn't you be if your father just tried to kill a president?
Yeah, and then stabbed himself in the neck. Oh, boy.
And then couldn't even do it. Apparently, he didn't even draw blood. Do you know this?
I heard that, and that's okay. I'm glad for him.
Could you imagine trying to stab yourself in the neck with a Bic pen?
No, I actually cannot imagine that. I don't think it sounds like fun.
Now I've got
nothing I need to try.
Look at this. You see what this is?
I know what that is. That's your tactical pen.
This is my NRA tactical pen.
I told you I bought those for everybody for Christmas one year after I first met you because I thought it was a great idea.
Titanium. This is actually a window break on the tip of this. Okay, so I can take this, I can pop it, it'll break the window, but it'll also, you want to stab yourself in the neck, this is what
that'll
you would
do it.
use.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they don't allow detainees to have a tactical pen to write with.
This gets through TSA 50% of the time.
Yeah.
So this is my NRA one. This one looks a little too aggressive. I don't bring this one on the plane because this one gets caught all the time.
Yeah, but there's some that you can buy on Amazon that aren't expensive, that aren't great, and you could get those through, and if you lost it, you wouldn't be sad.
Yeah, that's what happens to me. It gets taken 50% of the time. Dan the phone man is up.
As Radar, give credit to Radar for this one. As he pointed out, that courtroom sketch, if you didn't have the contact, it looks like John Kerry being restrained.
It does.
It does. It's John Kerry. John Kerry tried to stab himself in the neck after hearing President Trump's climate change speech at the United Nations yesterday. All right, folks, that is going to do it for us. I'm Grant Stinchfield. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, Stinchfield 1776 on all the social media platforms. GrantStinchfield.com is the website. You get all the podcasts there. And please, if you're watching, subscribe to the channel, share the channel, like the video, heck, copy and paste the link if you want to, and share it on all of your social media platforms. This is how we get the word out there. So stick with me, please. Again, GrantStinchfield.com. That's GrantStinchfield.com. Stinchfield's Army rolls because of all of you. We'll see you tonight on the Real America's Voice show. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Uncensored and